Hello and welcome back to another installment of me going on a long ramble about D&D stuff. Bastions this time, since I had people request a video on Bastions. Specifically, what is it? Skippy9273 and Magic of Asura, I think. Magic of Asura. I appreciate you commenting fairly frequently. It's always nice to talk to D&D about stuff, people. But yeah, no, I like Bastion, so I'm happy to do a Bastion video, a big Bastion video, because there's a lot of facilities. There's a lot, and there's more after the book came out. But anyway, I will try and keep my rambles in check, because I just read some feedback just a bit ago that my videos are a little long and chaotic, which I can only guarantee that they will be long, and probably chaotic. But I will try, or at least try to edit out any rambling that gets too far off topic. This is kind of me sharing my stuff, my takes, my whatever comes to mind whenever I think about things. So how much off topic I will allow, I'm not sure, but I'm keeping it in mind. So I'll do my best. I will do my best, but I am just gonna condense pretty much all of the current Bastion facilities into just one big video. Maybe I could split it up for like the facilities in the Faerun, and then the facilities in Eberron, the new Eberron book that came out. But I figured I could just do that whenever new Bastions come out for other books. So for now, I'm just gonna cover everything in one big video. And whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, that's what chapters are for. So I can do all that process, and if you want to hear anything on one specific Bastion, then just zoom to that part of the video. But yeah, not too much more for me to say otherwise that I appreciate. Any kind of feedback you want to give me, I appreciate any other requests and stuff. I do want to make a video on each of the classes, like I did the Artificer, just to catch up. Now that all the news is covered, I'm gonna play catch up now, where I'm gonna talk about at least one video on all the classes and their current subclasses, and naturally then anything that comes out in the future I'm gonna cover. So yeah, let's just get started here with a kind of a general talk on Bastions. Now, Bastions are, as if you don't know, essentially are player bases, right? A home quarters, a headquarters, a home, a headquarters, etc., thing like that, a home base. And not every campaign is gonna really want to use the Bastion system. I have luckily been in a campaign where we are using the Bastion system for our characters, and I think my current game on Monday is also, the DM's also thinking about using the Bastion system as well. So that is kind of what they are. They're home base for each player character, and I do mean each. The Bastions are meant for each character in the party to have their own Bastion, or at least that's what they're designed for. And then as we'll see some later on when I go through some other stuff, there is an option for player characters to combine their Bastion together, and they still get control over their parts and stuff. So if you want to just have one big area for your entire party, one big home, one big castle, keep type thing, then you can do that. Or if your characters are in a city, then they can have separate Bastions around the place, or whatever you want. And a Bastion can pretty much look like whatever you want too. And now from the Eberron book, which we will get to way later, there are now rules for having a mobile Bastion, like if your Bastion is on a ship, or if you're in Eberron on a skyship, or on a train. So yeah, you can do a lot of things with Bastions. But I gotta stress, not every campaign is gonna really want to have a Bastion, because sometimes with some campaigns you're just traveling too much, right? You're not going to the same area. You're not sticking to the same side of the continent all the time. Sometimes I've played in campaigns where it's constant movement across the world. There's constantly stuff going on. We don't really have any kind of time to set down roots or anything. So a bastion would not really work in that campaign unless you had made the bastion a ship or something like that. But yeah, on to general bastion stuff. Player characters are meant to gain bastions. If you're going to use a system, they're meant to gain bastions at level 5, but you can give them to your players whenever they want. They might, as like some of the flavor here, you can pause and read it if you like, but they might inherit it or receive some land for a specific, as like a reward for something, and whatnot. And then as you level up, you'll get access to more complicated facilities and whatnot, special facilities with special abilities. Bastions also have bastion turns, which happen roughly every week, every 7 days of in-game time. And you get some examples of other stuff like this. All of this stuff is just kind of a guideline. As a DM, you can decide whenever a bastion turn happens, and etc. Blah blah blah. So moving on here, bastion maps and stuff. Bastions you do have a specific amount of space that the rooms you get are gonna take up, and then you'll get more rooms and stuff. And if you have a shit ton of gold, you can buy more rooms and whatnot. Not more special facilities. You cannot buy more special facilities, but you can buy more basic facilities, which you'll see in a minute. But outside of that, bastions can have closets, corridors, ramps, staircases, defensive walls, doors and windows. You can have pretty much as many of these as you want. Defensive walls cost some gold to build, and it all goes into bastion events and whatnot. But in like I said earlier, you can combine bastions together. It becomes one big base, but each player character still gains control. It has pretty much control and can order the hirelings and whatnot to do their specific bastion stuff, even if they are all just one big base. The bastions come in 3 different types of rooms: cramped, roomy, and vast. Cramped is if you're thinking on a grid map, it's only 4 squares. Roomy is 16, and vast is 36. So bastions can get pretty big, and remember, closets, corridors, ramps, staircases, all this shit is free except for walls. You need walls. You need money for walls. And then whenever you gain a bastion, you get 2 free basic facilities, which can be any of these. Bedroom, self-explanatory. Dining room, self-explanatory. A parlor, if you don't know what a parlor is, it's like a greeting area, I think, when I looked it up a while ago. I think it's just kind of like a foyer or a foyer or whatever, like a greeting area to like host people is what a parlor is. You can also have a courtyard for like a garden or some stuff like that. Yeah, and you can have a kitchen or storage. You get 2 of these for free, and these are pretty much just flavor. They don't have any particular in-game effects unless you're a DM and you work with your DM and stuff that have them have in-game effects. But yeah, and you can also buy more facilities with gold here, and it is a lot of gold, and a lot of time required to build stuff, and especially and that can change depending on where your bastion is located. Because if your guys' bastion is like some big castle, like a couple miles outside of the city or something like that, then it might take more time to add more rooms and stuff like that. But to add a cramped room, it's 500 gold in 20 days. To add another roomy room, it's 1,000 gold in 45 days. And a vast room is 3,000 gold in 125 days. That's like a third of a year or something like that. Yeah. But you can also enlarge basic facilities. From cramped to roomy is 500 gold in 25 days. From roomy to vast is 2,000 gold in 80 days. So yeah, you can, depending on, this is also kind of a campaign thing dependent, because I know with the 2 campaigns that I'm currently in, the one on Sunday and the one on Monday, which I am recording this on Monday, so yeah, I'll be playing D&D later. But anyway, on topic. One of those campaigns on Sunday, we get way too much gold. More gold than any of our characters can ever hope to spend on anything. And we have Bastion facilities in that game, but you know, so there's some story stuff going on right now, so we don't really got the time to add more basic facilities or enlarge things. But anyway, and in the other game on Monday, we are not getting a lot of gold for the most part. So depending on the campaign, even if you do use the Bastion system, depending on how your DM feels about handing you just massive quantities of gold, being able to upgrade or enlarge space may or may not be. It's campaign dependent. It's DM dependent. Though it does give you something to use that gold on if you are in a game with a DM that just throws gold at you all the time, and you just end up having this massive treasure pile in your pockets that you never really know what to do with. If they're using the Bastion system, that's a lot. These things are what you can sink a lot of gold into. But moving on, there to special facilities. You gain more special facilities as you level up. At level 5, you start with 2. Level 9, you get 2 more. Level 13, you just get 1 more. And level 17, you get another special facility. And just kind of like feats and stuff like that, or like class features, each of these different facilities will unlock at different levels. And typically, the ones that unlock at higher levels are a lot more, they do a lot more crazy shit. So, you know, we'll get on to them. There's a lot of them now. There's a lot of them. Some of the facilities are going to have requirements, such as you being able to need a spellcasting focus, or you having a druidic or divine focus or whatnot. Each facility will tell you what kind of space it occupies. Each facility will also have hirelings that work for the facility, maintain it, and execute the Bastion orders. Each special facility in a Bastion generates enough income to pay the salary of its hirelings, so you don't have to worry about paying people to take care of the place. Because through some means, somehow, your Bastion will make enough money on its own to care for the people that run it. So yeah, you don't really have to. If you want to give you the hirelings more gold, you can. But moving on, there are tons of Bastion orders. You can initiate a Bastion order once every Bastion turn, I think, per facility. On a Bastion turn, a character in their Bastion can issue a special order called Bastion orders to one or more of their Bastion special facilities. A character needed issue orders to all special facilities in their Bastion on a given Bastion turn. The maintain order is as usual. It just keeps everything working properly. But there's also, depending on what facilities you have, there is crafting, which your hirelings will craft items. Empower, which gives you a temporary empowerment to you or somebody else. Harvest, there are some facilities that produce resources for you. Maintain, all the Bastion's hirelings focus on maintaining a Bastion rather than executing orders in a special facility. Issuing this order prohibits other orders from being issued to the Bastion on the current Bastion turn. Each time a maintain order is issued, the DM rolls once on the Bastion events table at the end of this chapter. The Bastion events are resolved before the next Bastion turn. Shit can happen to your Bastions, by the way. Those are Bastion events. We will maybe take a look at those later. This is a big video about Bastion, so I probably should. There are also some facilities that recruit stuff. There's like we'll get to it, but there's the barracks, which you can have a lot of Bastion defenders, but there's other things as well. There are Bastions that are focused on research, intel gathering, and research, that you can set them upon knowing a specific thing, and then after a little while, they will help you figure it out. Then there are Bastions that trade stuff, so they can earn you money. So, on to the actual facilities. As you can see from this big table, there's a lot of them, and they're labeled in order of, you know, your level and whatnot, and I will go through them all. Plus, they added more facilities in the Faerun book that are specific faction-related facilities, and they added even more facilities in the Eberron Forge of the Artificer book, and rules about mobile bastions. So I will get to that when I get to it, but we'll see. We're just gonna keep going for now. So, they're also listed, I believe, in alphabetical order. Rather, like down here, they're listed. They're on the table. They're listed in order of level that you could attain them. But in the actual list here, they're listed alphabetically. So, you know, I'm sure it won't matter too much for the video since I'll be putting a timestamp on things anyway. So you can zoom to whatever facility you want to know about. But starting off, we have the Arcane Study. You have to use an Arcane Focus as a spellcasting focus. So that I think that it means wizards, sorcerers, and warlocks are here. Can take this. They're the ones that use an Arcane Focus as a spellcasting focus, and not a druidic focus or a holy symbol of some kind. The space is roomy. It has one free hireling, and remember, you can turn your hirelings into NPCs. And if your DM's cool, you let you kind of decide on them, because that's what my DM on Sunday did. But your DM also may just introduce people to you, which is either way. The Arcane Studies main order is crafting. An Arcane Study is a place of quiet research that contains one or more desks and bookshelves. So, these are our options here. The Arcane Study Charm. After spending a long rest in your faction, you gain a magical charm in the Supernatural Gifts Chapter 3. Lasts for 7 days. This charm allows you to cast Identify without expending a spell slot or using material components. You can't gain this charm again while you still have it. A free cast of Identify is great. You know, sometimes you just have a magic item that you're going to need to identify, and you might not want to use the spell slot on it. So just having free casts of it by having a Arcane Study, having this little device that identifies stuff for you, good stuff. And then we have the craft options. When you issue the craft order facility, you gain one of these. You can craft Arcane Focuses. It takes 7 days, costs no money, and the Arcane Focus remains in your bastion until you claim it. You can craft books, like if you're a wizard and want more books for your spells, you can. It again takes 7 days, but this time takes you 10 gold and remains in your bastion until you claim it. And then once you reach level 9, you have craft magical item Arcana, which you can commission the facility's hireling to craft a common or uncommon magic item chosen by you from the Arcana table in Chapter 7 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. The facility has the tool required to craft the item. The hireling has proficiency with that tool, as well as proficiency in the Arcana skill. See crafting magical items rules, and also the same chapter. For the time and money must spent on the craft. You can see the crafting magic items in Chapter 7 for the time and money that must be spent to craft the item. If the item requires its user to cast any spells from it, you must craft the item yourself. The facility's hireling can assist, and you must have all those spells prepared every day you spend crafting the item. So, the Arcana table, let's take a small gander. I'm not going to go over all of the things, but because it's a big D100 table, but there's a few neat stuff. You feel free to pause and see things if you'd like. There's Ruby the War Mage, there's spell scrolls and whatnot, there's a few different staves, blah blah blah. It's depending on if you think any of this stuff is interesting. That probably doesn't look good. Then it's there for you. Otherwise, yeah, the Arcane Study is perfectly good flavor for a wizard of some kind. It's very wizard coded, but you know, anybody that uses an Arcane Focus specifically can take this bastion. Yeah, it's neat. You can craft. You get free cast of the Identify spell for 7 days every time you go to your bastion. But yeah, moving on to the Archive, which is a level 13 bastion facility. It has no prerequisite. Space is roomy. Has one hireling, and its main function is research. Main order is research. So we have an archive is a repository of valuable books, maps, and scrolls. It's usually attached to a library behind a locked or secret door. So make sure to hide your archive if you want to. My character on Sunday, actually, I'm gonna take an archive because they are kind of an Indiana Jones character. So my bastion is a museum, so that I took an archive because why not? Anyway, its research option is whenever you issue the research order to this facility, you can commission the facility's hireling to search for an archive for helpful lore. The work takes 7 days, and the hireling gains knowledge as if they had cast the legend lore spell. Niche knowledge spell based on, important objects, places, or etc. stuff. You can read the spell if you'd like. I'm sure people know what legend lore does. And then it shares this knowledge with you the next time you speak with them. Good stuff. It is exactly what you would think an archive would be, a repository of more secret knowledge that you might not want other people getting into. So yeah. At level 13, a free cast of legend lore for waiting a week. In the right campaign, if you've got that kind of downtime, then could be helpful. But the archive also has reference books. Your archive contains one copy of a rare and valuable reference book, which gives you a benefit while you and the book are in your bastion. You can choose which of the following options. Your DM might make more options available. Always leaving it open for the DM to mess with your stuff, because all of D&D's rules are merely a guideline, not a typical rule book. Your DM is God. God can do whatever he wants. Rocks fall, everybody dies. Anyway, your book options are Bigme's Handy Arcana Codex, which gives you advantage on Arcana checks when you take the study action to recall lore about spells, magic items, eldritch symbols, magical traditions, and planes of existence. The Chronopsis Chronicles, sorry if I fuck up that word, I don't know how to say it, gives you advantage on history checks when you take the study action to recall lore about historical events, legendary people, ancient kingdoms, past disputes, wars, and lost civilizations. Investigations of the Inquisitive are advantage on intelligence investigation checks when you take the study action to make deductions based on clues or evidence that you recall lore about traps, ciphers, riddles, and gadgetry. And then the last, not the last, what am I talking about? The next one is the Material Musings on the Nature of the World. You have advantage on nature checks whenever you take the study action to recall lore about terrain, plants, animals, and the weather. The last book is The Old Faith and Other Religions. You have advantage on religion checks you make to take the study action to recall lore about deities, rites, prayers, hierarchies, holy symbols, and practices of secret cults. Yeah. A lot of helpful books. You can take these. I believe you can take these with you if you like. They give you the bonus. Is it while they're on you, or just having it or having the book with you? I would assume that maybe it's you can probably take the book with you to have the effect along with you, because it's a reference book that you can study from. Or if you can't, depending on, I guess, your DM maybe, or if I've missed something, which is possible, then whenever you're in your bastion, you have these effects for doing research in your archive. And then there's one more option here, which is enlarging the facility. And if you spend 2,000 gold, you can enlarge your facility to vast, and you gain 2 additional reference books chosen from the list above. Because you only gain 1 copy of one of these books, and if you enlarge it, you gain 2 more. Out of the total of 5 options, that should cover a lot about whatever your character might need. Because if your character is picking an archive, imagine you're already kind of a smarty pants. You know, like I said, my character's basically dwarven Indiana Jones, so I add an archive to the library and museum that is his bastion. But yeah, it's good stuff. Interesting. Good, and plenty of roleplay opportunities here. Moving on to the armory. It has no prerequisite. Space is roomy, hirelings of 1, and its order is trading. An armory contains mannequins for displaying armor, hooks for holding shields, and racks for storing weapons, and chests for holding ammunition. Its main order is trade stock armory. Whenever you issue the trade order to this facility, you can commission the facility's hirelings to stock the armory with armor, shields, weapons, and ammunition. The equipment costs you 100 gold plus an extra 100 gold for each bastion defender in your bastion. If your bastion has a smithy, the total cost is halved, presumably because your smithy will just make some of them. While your armory is stocked, your bastion defenders are harder to kill during a bastion offense, which, by the way, your bastion defenders can potentially die during bastion events. It just depends on what your DM rolls on the table, or if whatever they decide to do. Roll a d8 in place of a d6 you would normally roll. When the event is over, the equipment in your armory is expended, regardless of how many bastion defenders you have or how many you lost, leaving your armory depleted until you issue another trade order to this facility and pay the cost to restock it. So, your armory just helps your bastion defenders be a little more effective, but it's also plenty good for flavor. As people might know from now, I prioritize, or at least care more about flavor over actual power here. So when I play D&D, because I'm more interested in all the storytelling part of all the game, or in the experience of being on a long adventure with a bunch of friends. But yeah, there's not too much more to say on it, I don't believe. Presumably it will stock it with his whatever kind of weapons you would need. So I imagine if you could just snatch one if you like. You are paying 100 gold for this stuff. So yeah. Not much else to say. It does work well with the smithy. On to the next one, which is the barracks or the barracks, whatever. No prerequisite, space is roomy, hirelings of 1, and its order is to recruit. A bastion can have more than one barrack, each of which is furnished to serve as a sleeping quarters for up to 12 bastion defenders. And its main order is recruit, naturally. Each time you issue the recruit order to this facility, up to 4 bastion defenders are recruited to your bastion and assigned quarters in this barrack. The recruitment costs no money, and you can't issue the recruit order in this facility until it's fully occupied. Keep track of the bastion defenders housed in each of your barracks. If you lose bastion defenders, deduct them from your roster. Assign names and personalities to your bastion defenders as you see fit. So, it can lead to a lot of interesting NPC encounters to have a bunch of people defending your bastion, and roaming around, and guards and whatnot. You can be a gracious ruler or kind of a shithead, whatever you want. But we also have the option to enlarge the facility to a vast facility by spending 2,000 gold, and you can it can accommodate up to 25 bastion defenders. So you can have a rather well guarded bastion if you have one person here that's keeping tabs and keeping stock of all the defenders, as is your hireling. But the defenders themselves are just kind of there to protect your stuff. And you could roleplay with them. They can become NPCs. They can become important to you. All that good stuff. But there's not much else to say about it. This video, I am trying to be a little more structured. And if something doesn't particularly give me too many ideas, then I'll just move on. Speaking of moving on, the next bastion is the Demiplane, which is a 17th level bastion facility. It does have a prerequisite of needing an arcane focus as a spellcasting focus. Space is vast, hirelings is 1, and the order is to empower. A door up to 5 feet wide and 10 feet tall appears on a flat surface in one of your facilities in your bastion. You choose the location. If you are in your bastion during a bastion turn, you can relocate this door to another facility in your bastion. Only you and your bastion's hirelings can open the door, which leads to a demiplane that takes the form of a stone room. The demiplane exists in an extra-dimensional space and therefore isn't attached physically to other locations in your bastion. Neither the demiplane nor its door can be dispelled, which is helpful, good stuff. For its actual Empower order, its arcane resilience. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, magical runes appear on the demiplane's walls that last for 7 days. Until the runes disappear, you gain temporary hit points equal to 5 times your level after spending an entire long rest in the demiplane. And I would figure that you can store things inside the demiplane, since it is kind of just a stone room. Could be your private bedroom, you know? Your private bedroom's on a different plane of existence. It can't be dispelled. And you can move your door wherever you want in your bastion, so... In my mind, my reading, my demiplane would probably be a private room of some kind. You know, store some things that need a little more security. And that would make sense of why you're spending a long rest inside the demiplane if it's like a private fancy bedroom of some kind. But yeah, the demiplane also has the fabrication order or something. While in the demiplane, or the fabrication ability. While in the English. While in the demiplane, you can take a magic action to create a non-magical object of your choice from nothing, causing it to appear with an unoccupied space within the demiplane. The object can be no longer than 5 feet of any dimension, can't have a value over 5 gold, and must be made of wood, stone, clay, porcelain, glass, paper, non-precious crystal, or non-precious metal. And you must finish a long rest before you can take this action again. At level 17, how useful being able to create one non-magical object is dubious. It doesn't seem to go away. I mean, options like this are always for the flavor, right? Always for the flavor. Whatever you decide you want to do with it, this could be can be no longer to 5 feet in any dimension, so it could be like a 5-foot statue. It could be a weapon, a cool looking weapon to hang somewhere. It could be some kind of part you need that may not necessarily be valuable, but you can, but it'll take you a shorter amount of time to just form it out of the ether in the demiplane rather than go out and buy it or have it made. So, you know, if you're building some kind of contraption, then this could give you like the individual gears and housings and glass and stuff that you might need for it. You never know. But moving on to the gaming hall, it is a level 9 bastion facility, no prerequisite, vast space, 4 hirelings, and its order is trade. A gaming hall offers recreational activities like chess and games of darts, cards, or dice. Its main thing is whenever you issue the trade order to this facility, the facility's hirelings turn the gaming hall into a gambling den for 7 days, and at the end of the 7th day, roll 1d100 and consult the table to see how much the house wins. Which, depending on what you roll, could be quite a little bit of money. Minimum is 10 gold. Minimum here you can win is 10 gold, which is not bad. But the maximum you can win is 600? Right? Because it's 10d6, and if you happen to roll... Actually, oh shit, hold on, no. No. 10 times 60... Wait. 10d... If you roll 10d6, that's 60 times 10, which is 600. Okay, no, I'm just an idiot. Never mind. Don't worry about me. I'm just dumb. I panicked for it. I didn't panic, it did weird math in my brain. But yeah. It's just there to earn you money, passive income here, as long as you're good with random strangers coming into your gambling hall to gamble and whatnot. Let's go gambling! Ah, dang it. I'll only do that once, because, you know, I don't want to annoy people too much. Moving on to the garden, which has no prerequisite, is a level 5 Bastion facility, so you can have it right from the get-go. It has a roomy space, 1 hireling, and its order is harvest. And a Bastion can have more than 1 garden. Each time you add a garden to your Bastion, you can choose its type from the table down here below. Well, in your Bastion, you can extract the facilities hireling to change the garden from one type to another, but it takes 21 days to, replant and resort the soil for stuff for a different purpose. The actual order is harvest, which is garden growth. When you issue the harvest order to this facility, you commission the facility's hireling to collect items from the garden as noted in the garden tables below that you can already see, but I'll get to it in a minute. The work takes 7 days and costs no money, and you can also spend 2,000 gold to enlarge the facility to vast. A vast garden is equivalent to 2 roomy gardens, so you can have two different ones of these garden types within the same facility if you'd like. And each facility produces its own harvest. A vast garden contains 1 additional hireling, so you have 2 people to manage your garden. Now for the actual garden types, though. We have decorative, food, herb, and poison. Decorative is aesthetically pleasing garden full of flowers and topics, and whatever that word is. Sorry, I don't know. And its harvest is 10 exquisite floral bouquets worth 5 gold each, which is aka 50 gold if you can find people to sell them. 10 vials of perfume and 10 candles, which you can also potentially sell. The food is garden delicious mushrooms or vegetables, 100 days worth of rations, always helpful. Theoretically could sell those as well, Then the herbs are a garden full of rare herbs, some of which have medicinal uses. Herbs are used to create either 10 healer's kits or 1 potion of healing. Good stuff. A poison. Garden stocked with plants and fungi from which the poison and antitoxins can be extracted. So you can you get the harvest after 7 days is 2 vials of antitoxin or 1 vial of basic poison. A lot of effort for basic poison, but hey, if you want a garden, it's probably more for aesthetics than it is actual thing. Probably the most useful one here is the healer's kits or 1 potion of healing, since those actually give mechanical benefits other than the the acting toxin and stuff. But you can make your garden whatever you want, and if you make it bigger, you can have 2 of these, which you could theoretically just make more herbs or more food or whatever you want, or you could make herbs and decorative, or decorative and poison, or food and poison. Probably that seems like a hazard, but it's whatever. Garden is nice. It's pretty. It's there for you if you want it. On to the next one, which is the greenhouse. It is a level 9 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is none. Space is roomy. Hirelings is only 1. Then it is another harvest order Bastion. A greenhouse is probably self-explanatory what a greenhouse looks like, but it is an enclosure where rare plants and fungi are nurtured in a controlled climate. And you have the fruit of restoration here automatically, but then you have 2 other two actual harvesting options. The fruit of restoration is 1 plant in your greenhouse that has 3 magical fruits growing on it. Any creature that eats one of these fruits gains the benefit of a lesser restoration spell. The fruits that aren't eaten within 24 hours of being picked lose their magic, and the plant replaces all picked fruits daily at dawn. Can't be transplanted without killing it. So, lesser restoration is always a fine spell to have it whenever you need it. Though the fruits only last for 24 hours, if you are doing adventures within range of your Bastion, it's not unbelievable to think you could get to your Bastion and cure some effect within a reasonable amount of time. But as for the harvest options, we have healing herbs and poison. You commission the facility's hireling to create a potion of healing greater made from healing herbs. This work takes 7 days and costs no money. We have harvest poison. You commission the facility's hireling to extract 1 application of a poison from rare plants or fungi. Choose the type of poison from the following options: Assassin's Blood, Malice, Pale Tincture, or Truth Serum. See the poison in chapter 3 for the poison's effects. Once harvested, poison can be contained in a vial. Work takes 7 days, costs no money. So it is kind of the garden and the greenhouse kind of go together into the same kind of flavor. So I imagine if you were a character that wanted to pick the garden bastion, you would probably want to pick the greenhouse bastion once you're of level to do so as well. It only makes sense. But moving on, we have the guild hall. It is a level 17 bastion facility. Prerequisite is an expertise in a skill, any skill. In 2024, there's a few more classes that get expertise. So like a wizard could take this since they get expertise. You can always take the skill expert feat as well if you want the guild hall and aren't like a character that gets expertise. So, and the skill expert feat's not bad either. It never hurts to have that expertise, and it gives you a +1 to any ability score. So it's useful for any character. A guild hall comes with a guild for which you are the guild master. Also, its order is recruit, by the way. Its space is vast, its hirelings are 1, and its order is recruit. And you are the guild hall. You're the guild hall, man. I can English, I promise. The guild hall comes with a guild for which you are the guild master. Choose the type of guild from the options of the guilds below, or work with your DM to create a new guild. The facility is a meeting room where members of your guild can discuss important matters in your presence. Your guild has roughly 50 members made up of skilled folk who live and work outside your bastion, usually live in nearby settlements. And the recruit thing is the recruit guild assistant. Each time you issue the recruit order to this facility, you're commissioned the facility's hireling to recruit a guild masters or to perform a special assignment. Each guild in the sample guilds tables, each guild in the sample guilds table specifies the nature of that assignment. With your DM's permission and help, you can create new assignments for guild members to complete. Do remember, as it says, you can work with your DM to create your own specific guild and your own specific guild assignments, but these are the options that they present as examples. You can have an adventurous guild, you create a symbol, blah, blah, blah. The assignment is you can send adventurers to track down a beast of a challenge rating of 2 or lower, known as layer within 50 miles of your bastion. You can have it if you train, blah, blah, blah. Bastion is a menagerie. You can add that creature to your facility, provided the facility has enough space to house it. The Baker's Guild. You can set up bakers to create baked goods for a prestigious event that occurs in the next 7 days. You will receive payment in coin, 500 gold, of which the form of a favor owed to you by the event's host. The details of which are left up to the DM. You can have a Brewer's Guild that makes a shit ton of fucking alcohol. You have a Mason's Guild that can add defensive walls to your bastions for no cost. Or you could have this work for another character's bastion, provided their bastion is within 1 mile of yours. You can have the Shipbuilder's Guild, which makes airborne or waterborne vehicles if you spend gold. Or the Thieves Guild, which you can inside of thieves infiltrate a location within 50 miles of your bastion to steal a non-magical object from it. The object can be no bigger than 5 feet. And again, these are all just sample guilds. You can pick one of these, or you could, what is probably more fun to do is just work with your DM to make your own guild. So, because it's interesting. It's good stuff. It's all right. But yeah, you can become a guild master once you reach level 17. Moving on to the laboratory. Prerequisite is none, space is roomy, hirelings is 1, and its order is craft. Laboratory contains 1 storage space for alchemical supplies and workspaces for creating various concoctions. You get your craft order options. You can craft alchemist supplies or poison. The facility's hireling can craft anything that can be made with alchemist supplies using the rules in the player's handbook on chapter 7. You can craft a poison. They commission the facility's hireling to craft a vial containing 1 application of poison. The poison must be one of the following: burnt earth fumes, essence of ether, or torpor. Effect the work takes 7 days. Must pay half of the poison's cost. Blah blah blah. It is a level 9 facility, by the way. Yeah. Hey, laboratory is flavorful for an artificer, probably like an alchemist or something. Even though an alchemist could probably just make all this stuff anyway. It's very flavorful for the alchemist to have a laboratory in their facility. Moving on to the library, I have one of this. I have this Bastion option in my game on Sunday. It is a level 5 one, so you can take it right from the get-go and you get a Bastion. Prerequisite is none, space is roomy, hirelings is 1, order is research, and a library is self-explanatory. If you don't know what a library is, I don't know what to tell you. It's a place with a bunch of books that you can rent books from. Anyway, its research is topical lore. You can issue the research facility. You can issue the research order to this facility. Commission the facility hireling to research a topic. Can be a legend, a known event or location, person of significance, a type of creature, or a famous object. The work takes 7 days. When the research concludes, the hireling obtains up to 3 accurate pieces of information about the topic that were previously unknown to you, and shares this knowledge the next time you speak with them. DM naturally gets to pick what information it is. It is a very basic, being a level 5 facility, it's pretty basic, but interesting nonetheless. So, we'll move on from it to the meditation chamber. Prerequisite is none, space is cramped, hirelings is 1, order is empower. Meditation chamber is a relaxing space that helps align one's mind, body, and spirit. Empower is inner peace. Whenever you issue the empower order to the facility, your Bastion's hirelings can use this meditation chamber to gain a measure of inner peace. The next time you roll for an Bastion event, you roll twice and choose the either result. And then you have fortify self. You can meditate in this facility over a period of 7 days, and if you leave the Bastion during this time, you gain no benefit. Otherwise, at the end of the 7th day, you gain advantage on 2 kinds of saving throws for the next 7 days, determined randomly by rolling on the table. So, you have to roll a d6, and you get advantage on 2 of these saving throws. An advantage on any saving throw is good, is objectively pretty solid. You don't get to pick, but there's only 6, and it's only a d6, so you probably and you re-roll if you get a duplicate, so you'll have a good chance of getting something that may be useful, or who knows, even if you don't get something you think is useful, it might become useful, depending on what your adventure day brings you. Moving on to, also it's a level 13 facility, by the way. Moving on, oh hey, cool art of a rat. Nice. Moving on to the menagerie, which is also a level 13 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is none, space is vast, hirelings are 2, order is recruit. A menagerie enclosures big enough to contain up to 4 large creatures. 4 small or medium creatures can occupy the same space as 1 large creature there. When you issue the recruit order to this facility, you commission the facility's hirelings to add a creature from the menagerie creatures table onto your menagerie. The recruitment takes 7 days and costs the amount of listed on the table. The hirelings look for the creature. Creatures in your menagerie count as Bastion defenders. Deduct any you lose from your Bastion defenders roster. You can choose not to count 1 or more of these creatures as Bastion defenders, in which case they can't be called on to defend the Bastion. Instead, they act as in accordance with their nature and use their stat blocks in the monster manual. So, some of these cost a lot of fucking money, but you can get it out. Basically, a menagerie is kind of a zoo, or you can flavor it as a zoo, or if you were a druid and wanted to have some creatures around to just kind of have things. Again, you can designate these as Bastion defenders, so they will help defend your Bastion from intruders, or you could just have a shit ton of animals running around and are supposedly friendly to you, or at least potentially kept in enclosures that are safe. But yeah, this is the menagerie creatures, and down here there's an option for your DM to have other creatures though in there. So you could have like an ettercap or something, or a phase spider or whatever, as long as you work with your DM somehow. But these are the lists: ape, black bear, brown bear, constrictor snake, crocodile, dire wolf, giant vulture, hyena, jackal, lion, owl bear, panther, and tiger. and they cost quite a bit of gold. Quite a bit of gold. I personally would probably just have a bunch of dire wolves in my facility if I was the type of character like a ranger or a druid or something that, or I've got a snake druid, so I might have a bunch of snakes that would be around. So yeah, Menagerie's interesting. Menagerie's cool. Creatures cost by challenge rating here as well for Bastion facility. Moving on to the observatory. Which is another level 13 Bastion facility, and its prerequisite is able to use a spellcasting focus. So that could be a wizard, a druid, anybody that can use spellcasting can have an observatory, which is quite a few of the classes in the game. And has its space is roomy, hirelings of 1, order is in power. Situated atop your bastion, your observatory contains a telescope aimed at the night sky. And you get an observatory charm and the empower Eldritch Discovery. The observatory charm is you can use your observatory to peer within the far corners of wild space in the astral plane. After spending a long rest in your observatory, you gain a magical charm in the supernatural gifts chapter, and it lasts for 7 days. Charm allows you to contact other plane without expending a spell slot. You gain this charm, and you can't gain this charm again while you still have it. Contact other plane is a 5th level spell. This is a 13th level Bastion facility, so not too strong. And naturally, you could, help. Contact other planes, kind of a research knowledge spell. So depending on how useful it is, it's whatever. But having an observatory in general is pretty cool. If I was the right kind of character, I would definitely want an observatory. Like if you were a stars druid or something, then yeah, hell yeah, an observatory would be cool. It's just interesting, cool stuff. And it leads to like a lot of interesting art to be, if you wanted to like draw your bastion or use a program to map out your bastion, like Incarnate or something like that. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. How good any of the Bastion facilities are is kind of personal preference. You know me, I like my flavor. So I'm content with facilities being not too useful as long as they're cool. Make me feel nice. Moving on to the pub though, which is a level 13 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is none, so any character can take it. Space is roomy, hirelings is 1, order is research. And you guys know what a pub is. It's a bar, or it's a nightclub, or it's a whatever you want to flavor it to be. And the facility's hireling, who serves as the bartender, maintains a network of spies scattered throughout nearby communities. These spies are useful sources of information and frequent the pub, often incognito. So your pub isn't just for drinks, it's for gathering info as well. Speaking of which, the research option is information gathering. You can issue the research order to this facility, and you commission the pub's bartender to gather information from spies who are aware of all important happenings within 10 miles of your bastion. Over the next 7 days, during that time, these spies can divulge the location of any creatures that is familiar to you, provided the creature is within 50 miles of your bastion and not hidden by magic or confined to a location the DM deems beyond the spy's network ability to locate. And the spies learn the target's location. They also learn where that creature has been up for the previous 7 days. So, potentially useful. Potentially. I could really... Bastions I think are pretty cool if you have an adventure taking place around like a big city like Waterdeep, or maybe even freaking Sharn in Eberron. I think it's called Sharn, right? The big city of towers. They a lot of Bastion facilities are like, depending on like space around your bastion. So yeah, I mean, I personally love, I don't mind adventures that just take place in kind of small areas but have a lot of shit going on. But it always depends. But your pub also has the pub special as 1 magical beverage on tap chosen from the options below. You have Bigby's Burden, which drinking a pint of this beverage grants you the enlarge effect of an enlarge reduce spell. Duration of and the spell has the duration of 24 hours, no saving throw allowed. So you just become large for a day. Yeah. Cool. You have the Kiss of the Spider Queen, which gives you Spider Climb for 24 hours. Moonlight Serenade, which gives you Dark Vision up to 60 feet for 24 hours. And if you already have Dark Vision, it's extended by another 60 feet. Positive Reinforcement is drinking a pint of this beverage gives you resistance to necrotic damage for 24 hours. Sterner Stuff is you get automatically see on saving throws to avoid or end the frightened condition. And at the start of each Bastion turn, you can switch to one of the other options. Your DM may create new options. A pint of this magical beverage loses its magic 24 hours after it's poured. And you also have the option to enlarge the facility to VASP with another 2,000 gold. And you can have 2 magical beverages from the on tap at the same time. And a VASP pub gains 3 additional hirelings for a total of 4. These new hirelings are servers assigned names and personalities as you see fit. Having a bar in your house or your keep or your castle, pretty interesting. Or a bar on your ship now too. It's good stuff. Some of these drinks could potentially be pretty useful. You can always pour them into like a flask or something, or like a to-go cup, and be able to have it on you for the next day and be able to drink it. But yeah. Pub is cool. Pub is nice. Not having too much to say over a lot of the Bastion's options today, because there's not too much to say on them, honestly. Unlike a character option, these are things that a lot of different characters can take, so I'm just kind of listing them out. Maybe a little more structured like the one person asked me. But anyway, on to the Reliquary, which is a level 13 Bastion facility. Ability to use a holy symbol or druidic focus as spellcasting focus for its prerequisite. Space is cramped. Hirelings is 1. Order is harvest, and a reliquary is a vault that holds sacred objects. You do get a reliquary charm. After spending a long rest in your Bastion, you gain magical charm in chapter 3. The charm allows you to cast greater restoration once without having to expend a spell slot or use material components. Greater restoration is a pretty fucking solid spell to have in emergency whenever you need it. So certainly not gonna complain if you're druid or your cleric of the party, or your paladin, I suppose, as well. And potentially ranger as well, if you pick the option to take a druidic focus, I think. But yeah, the greater restoration is a perfectly fine spell. Gives you the counteracts a certain effect of stuff like I had on the screen a second ago. So it'll always be useful. Well, maybe not always. You might have days where you just might not get hit with an effect that a greater restoration will help with. But it's still good to have. It's a charm. Allows you to cast it once a day, and the charm lasts for 7 days or until you use it. So, pretty reasonable that you might if you're gonna take the charm, you might be expecting to go into a situation where you might need it. But its actual harvest feature is the talisman. When you issue the harvest order in this facility, you commission its hireling to produce a specially prepared talisman for you to use. It takes the form of an amulet, a room-carved box, a statuette, but it can be a tiny non-magical object that has religious significance. Work takes 7 days and costs no money. You can use the talisman in place of one spell's material components, provided the components have a cost of 1,000 gold or less. If the spell normally consumes the components, the talisman isn't consumed. After the talisman has been used this way, you can't be used again until you return it to your reliquary and use another harvest order to prepare it. So, probably pretty useful for said cleric or druid, because they are going to be the ones casting these kind of spells for you, right? Like the revivifies, the raised deads and stuff to potentially, save your ass. And it remains usable that way until you use it. So you can just kind of have it on you for a while, and it provides 1,000 gold of any spell component, which is nice and helpful for some of those higher level spells that you might need. But yeah, Reliquary is good for any character that might, be within flavor to take the Reliquary. On to the Sacristy. Yeah, let's move that down. Still so many more to go. Sacristy? I don't know how to say that word. I apologize. And also prerequisite is the ability to use a holy symbol or druidic focus as a spellcasting focus. Space is roomy, hirelings is 1, order is to craft, and we just have craft options here. A sacristy serves as a preparation and storage room for sacred items and religious vestments. Okay, I see. Basically storage room for holy shit. That isn't like to be locked away like a reliquary. I get you, I see. Its craft options are holy water and magic item relic on the relics table. For holy water, you can commission the facilities to make a flask of holy water. Holy water, nowadays, by the way, you can actually throw to do 2d8 radiant damage if it is a fiend or undead. So it's not useful. It has actual mechanics nowadays. Takes 7 days. It costs no money. You can spend GP. You can spend gold during the creation process to increase the potency of the holy water. For every 100 gold you spend, up to a maximum of 500 gold, damage dealt by the holy water increases by 1d8. So, if you've got gold to spend, you can create a flask of Omega holy water that can do, what is it? It's 2d8 normally, so another 5d8 that can do 7d8 radiant damage to a fiend or an undead. So, interesting. If you want to spend the gold to do it, holy water, and the holy water isn't gonna go away, right? It's gonna stay that potent holy water until you use it, to throw at something. So it's all good. Then we have craft magic item relic. If you commission the facility hireling to craft a common or uncommon magic item chosen by you from the relics table in chapter 7. Kind of the same thing as the arcane study, except with the relic table instead. So you have to. They all get proficiency in arcana. Count as a person. If it casts spells from it, you count it. The hireling can assist and blah blah blah. It's good stuff. Let's take a little peek at the relics table real quick. Not gonna go over it super book. Potion of Healing's nice. Ruby of the War Mage, Shield of Expression, Smoldering Armor, Spell Scroll. You also get access to the uncommon stuff. Greater Healing, Sending Stones. Not bad. You can always pause if you want to look at some of those items, so you can look it up on your own time if you'd like. But the sacristy? I don't know. It also has Spell Refreshment. Having a sacristy allows you to gain one expended spell slot of 5th level or lower after spending an entire short rest in your bastion. Can't gain this benefit until you finish a long rest. So, if you're doing stuff out by where your bastion is, or want to cast like an out of combat potential spell, kind of like Legend Lore or something, and then you can quickly take a short rest in your bastion and gain up to a 5th level spell slot right back. So that pretty useful. I think the sacristy is pretty solid. Having holy water, an option for holy water, is not too bad, and some of the items in the relic table can be interesting. It does require the correct type of character's flavor to do so, but I like it. I do indeed. I think this is one of the things is that if on my Monday game where I play a cleric, I do think this is in my on my eye. If I get a bastion, I might take it. I'm not 100% sure. But moving on to Sanctuary, which is a level 5 bastion facility for anybody who can use a holy symbol or druidic focus as a spellcasting focus. Space is roomy. Hirelings is 1. Order is to craft. Icons of your religion is displayed within this facility, which includes a quiet place for worship. Basically a church, right? You can have like a church room The Sanctuary Charm allows you to cast Healing Word without expending a spell slot until lasts for 7 days or until you use it. Can't gain this charm again while you still have it. And then the craft order is a Sacred Focus. When you use it to craft, you can craft a Druidic Focus, one staff, or Holy Symbol. Costs no money, but you could potentially sell them if you want to. If you like, you could sell them. But yeah. It's I don't know how useful being able to craft holy symbols or druidic focuses are, but it's there, I suppose. Makes sense that the holy place would be able to make one of these things to be able to channel that kind of energies through it. But it's having one free cast of Healing Word is pretty not bad. I won't ever be mad at that. But moving on to the Sanctum, which is a 17th level Bastion facility, which requires a holy symbol or druidic focus as well. Its space is roomy, hirelings are 4, order is to empower, and the Sanctum is a place of solace and healing, which means it can kind of look like anything. The Sanctum Charm allows you to cast Heal once a day without expending a spell slot. 6th level spell, not bad. Once without expending a spell slot. And the Empower order is Fortifying Rites. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, you inspire its hirelings to perform the daily rites that benefit you or another character you name. The beneficiary does not need to be the Bastion while the rites are performed to gain the benefit. Each time the beneficiary finishes a long rest, they gain temporary hit points equal to your level. This effect lasts for 7 days. Yeah. The beneficiary doesn't need to, so you can you're basically praying for the safety of a person. So it could be a party member and they gain a bunch of temporary hit points for 7 days. Every time they finish a long rest for 7 days. Interesting. I have skimmed over a lot of the Bastions for it, but this is a little late in the video to mention this, but I have skimmed over a lot of the Bastions before, but I don't think I've read all of them in depth like this. So, you'll get my thoughts as they come to me. But again, unlike character options, the Bastions are things that I don't think I have a ton of stuff to say on, but yeah, I'll say it if I have it. Anyway, the Sanctum also has Sanctum Recall. While the Sanctum exists, you can always have the Word of Recall spell prepared. When you cast a Word of Recall, you can make your Sanctum the designation of the spell instead of another place you have previously designated. In addition, one creature of your choice that rises in the Sanctum via this spell gains the benefit of a heal spell. Not bad. Word of Recall is kind of like teleport for clerics, but it only goes to one place, a designated sanctuary. So yeah, it's there. You can always come back to it. Yeah, but as I keep saying, the Bastions are a lot of the Bastions sometimes, are focused around having adventures within not a small area, but maybe on the same continent as you, possibly. But anyway, the next Bastion is the Scriptorium, which is a level 9 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is none. Space is roomy. Hirelings is 1. Order is to craft. A Scriptorium contains desk and writing supplies. Then you have the crafting options, which is book replica. You can make a copy of any non-magical book. Doing so requires a blank book. Work takes 7 days. That very flavorful thing, potentially useful in the right case, I suppose. If you need to make a copy of something, you can create a spell scroll, which containing one cleric or wizard spell of 3rd level or lower. The facility has the necessary calligrapher's surprise, and the hireling meets all prerequisites needed to scribe the scroll. In the crafting equipment section of player handbook, specify the time needs the scroll and the cost of the scroll, which you must pay. On to the craft paperwork. You commission the facility to create up to 50 copies of broadsheet, pamphlet, or another loose leaf paper product. The work contains 7 days. It costs you 1 gold per copy. And no additional cost or time or money. The facility's hireling can distribute the paperwork to 1 or more locations within 50 miles of your Bastion, which is interesting, I suppose. The You want to make a bunch of flyers like Jester did in Critical Role. You could have them make a bunch of traveler brochures, I suppose. Scriptorian's okay. Needs the right character kind of flavor to take it, really, to be honest. But moving on to the Smithy. The Smithy is a level 5 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is none. Space is roomy. Hirelings is 2. Order is to craft, and Smithy is, self-explanatory. Contains a forge, anvil, other tools needed to craft weapons, armor, or equipment. The craft options, whenever you issue the craft order to this facility, is you can craft smith's tools, or you can create a magic item armament if you are level 9 or above. The armaments table, I suppose, is just going to be a bunch of armor and magic weapons. Yep, pretty much. Javelin of Lightning, I see. Sword of Vengeance. Saddle of the Cavalier. Stuff like that. Not bad. Potion Hill Giant is on here too. Not bad. Not terrible. Not bad. But yeah, Smithy's nice. Not too bad. Another thing that would probably be pretty good for the Artificer as well is to have a Smithy in their Bastion. But moving on to the stable, you have a prerequisite of none, a space of roomy, hirelings of 1, and the order is to trade. The Bastion can have more than one stable. Each stable you add to your Bastion comes with a 1 riding horse or camel and or 2 ponies or mules. See the player's handbook or the monster manual for these creature stat blocks. The facility is big enough to house 3 large animals. 2 medium creatures occupy the same space as 1 large creature there. The facility's hirelings look after these creatures. After a beast that serves as a mount spends at least 14 days in this facility, all wisdom animal handling checks made with respect to it have advantage. And its trade is animals. When you issue the trade order to this facility, you can commission the facilities to hireling to buy or sell 1 or more mounts at a normal cost. Keeping the ones you buy in your stable, the work takes 7 days, and the DM decides what types of animals are available for purchase. Horses, ponies, and mules being the most common. The mounts and other animals table in the other player's handbook gives standard prices for various mounts. You bear the total cost for any purchases. When you sell a mount from your stable, the buyer pays you a 20% more than the standard price. This profit increases to 50% when you reach 13 and 100% when you reach a level 17. And you can enlarge the facility to vast by spending 2,000 gold, and you can have 6 large animals in total. I could see there's no prerequisite to having a stable, so very good for like a castle or any kind of character that likes to be mounted. Could potentially be we know what happens to mounts and stuff in this game, so could potentially be a way to get a hold of mounts consistently. So I suppose keep it in mind. But yeah, not too much else to say on it. We do love our horses and camels. I find it funny that we can have camels. It would be interesting to have a bastion full of camels where there shouldn't be camels, but that's just entertaining for me because camels are funky, weird creatures, and I love them. The next one is the Storehouse, level 5 Bastions facility. Prerequisite is none. Space is roomy. Hirelings is 1. Order is to trade. A storehouse is a cool, dark space made to contain trade goods from objects from the trade goods table in Chapter 7 and from Chapter 6. The 1 order is the trade goods, obviously. Whenever you issue the trade order to this facility, its hireling spends the next 7 days procuring non-magical items that have a total value of 500 gold or less and stores them in the storehouse, or for the hireling uses those 7 days to sell the goods in the storehouse. You bear the total cost of any purchases, and the maximum value of these items purchased increase to 2,000 gold when you reach level 9 and 5,000 gold when you reach level 13. When you sell goods from your storehouse, the buyer pays a 10% more than the standard price. This profit increases to 20% when you reach level 9, 50% when you reach level 13, and 100% when you reach level 17. So you can potentially make back, if you spend 500 gold and then you sell it, you're going to make another 50 gold. You're going to make all of it back plus another 50 gold. And then by the time you're level 9, that'll increase it to 20%, which I think this would mean you'll make an extra 200 gold if you fill this all up. And by the time you're level 13, you get another 50%, which means another 200, which means another like 2,500 gold, I suppose, if you're able to fill it up fully and sell it back. And then 100% at level 17, which is basically able to fill up with, you're gonna constantly be able to make money off of this thing, no matter what, which is its purpose, is just making money. That is what it's for. So you could fill it up with 500 gold, and after another 7 days it'll come back with 10,000 gold. I said 500, I meant 5,000. But yeah. Storehouse will consistently make you money. You do have to trade stuff, so you do have to spend money to make money, but it does guarantee that you will be making money every week if you continue to trade out goods and stuff, if you've got the money for it. So, yeah, money making. Good stuff. The next one is the teleportation circle. Should be pretty self-explanatory. Prerequisite is none, space is roomy, hirelings is 1, and the order is to recruit. It is a room with an inscribed floor. This room is permanent teleportation circle created by the teleportation circle spell. Recruit spellcaster. Each time you issue the recruit order to this facility, its hireling expends 1 invitation to a friendly NPC spellcaster. Roll any die. If the number rolled is odd, the invitee declines the invitation, and you gain no benefit from having issued the order. If the order is even, then the invitee accepts the invitation and arrives in your bastion via your teleportation circle. While you're in your bastion, you can ask the spellcaster to cast 1 wizard spell of 4th level or lower, and if you are 17th, the spell's maximum level increases to level 8. The spellcaster is assumed to have the spell prepared. If the spell has 1 or more material components that cost money, you must pay for them. And then the spellcaster stays for 14 days or until they cast a spell for you. The spellcaster won't defend your bastion and departs immediately if the bastion is attacked. Very interesting. You don't really need you don't need a prerequisite to cast teleportation, to have the teleportation circle in your bastion. I would probably not take this one unless I was somebody that can cast teleportation circle. So I definitely would take this if I was a wizard or something. But not that you can't take it if, like, for some reason another one of your player characters doesn't have it, but you still want the access to this one wizard dropping by to cast a spell for you every now and then. Not bad. But moving on to the theater, it's a level 9 bastion facility. Prerequisite is none. Space is vast. Hirelings is 4, and its order is to empower. And we all know what a theater is, right? This is kind of like a play theater. I suppose if you were in Eberron, it could be like an actual theater too. I'm sure they have theaters there in Eberron. The theater empower is the theatrical event. When you empower this facility, its hirelings begin working on a theatrical production or concert. Rehearsals and other preparations take 14 days, followed by at least 7 days of performances. The performances continue to indefinitely until a new production gets underway. You or another character can contribute to the production in the following waves. You can be a composer or writer, you can be a conductor or director, or you can be a performer. A character who remains in the bastion for the entirety of the rehearsal period can be a star performer in 1 or more performances. One of the theater's hirelings can serve as an understudy for additional performances. At the end of a rehearsal period, a character who contributed to the concert or production can make a DC 15 performance check. If more of these checks succeed than fail, you and any other characters who contributed to the concert production gain a theater die, a D6. Die changes to a D8 when you become level 13, and a D10 when you reach level 17. At any point after the rehearsals end, a character can expend their theater die to roll it and add the number rolled to a D20 test. Basically, you're getting Bardic Inspiration, right? It's pretty much Bardic Inspiration if you go through with the whole thing. and they last until you get another dice, from what I'm seeing. So it's not bad. Definitely not bad. Definitely screaming out for a bard to get a theater, but you know, if your character is the type of person, even if they aren't a bard, to want a theater, then feel free to take it. It has no prerequisites, so any character can. You could be a cleric and put on those you could be a cleric and have like choir singing. You could be a druid that does like shamanic performances and stuff. You could be an artificer that likes making instruments in their free time or something like that for an orchestra. You know, flavor it however you want. Any character can take a theater, so if your character is interested, have at it. The next one is the training area, which is a level 9 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is none. Space is vast. Hirelings is 4. Its order is to empower. A Bastion can have more than one training area. A training area might be an open courtyard, a gymnasium, or a music or a dance hall, or a cleverly built gauntlet of traps and hazards. Might contain one inanimate object or weapon practice, padded mats, or other equipment. One of the facility's hirelings is an expert trainer. The others served as training partners. Whenever a training area becomes part of your Bastion, you can choose one trainer from your expert trainers table. On each Bastion turn, you can replace that trainer with another one from the table. And then here's the trainer's type. We have Battle Expert, Skill Expert, Tools Expert, Unarmed Combat, and Weapon Expert. The Battle Expert will, when you take damage from an attack made with an unarmed strike or a weapon, you can take your reaction and reduce this damage by a d4. I admit I probably would never, ever take Battle Expert, because, you know, this facility is a level 9 facility. We're able to cast like 5th level spells by now. Like you're probably gonna have a better option for your reaction than reducing the damage potentially by 4. Not to get to like what's good or not, but it's just a reaction. Though it is free, it's not expending anything. I guess if you have truly nothing better to use your reaction on, which I would heavily doubt, then you can take it if you want. But there's also Skill Expert, which gains you proficiency in the following skills, in one of the following skills of your choice. Pretty useful. Tools Expert is you gain proficiency in one tool of your choice. Unarmed Combat is when you hit with an unarmed strike and deal damage. The attack deals an extra d4 bludgeoning damage. I think this can. It says the attack deals an extra 1d4 bludgeoning damage. I think that this would stack with a monk. Like you would just be adding like a d4 to your already each of your unarmed attacks, so that could potentially be pretty solid. You're going to be making a lot of attacks, so a free d4 on all of them would not be too bad. And then Weapon Expert, which gives you choose a simple or martial weapon. If you aren't proficient with a weapon, you gain proficiency with it. If you're already proficient with a weapon, you can use its mastery property. Makes sense. And then you have the Empower Training. Whenever you use the Empower Order of this facility, the facility's hirelings conduct training exercises for the next 7 days. Any character who trains here for at least 8 hours on each of those days gains the benefit at the end of the training period. The benefit depends on which trainer is present in the facility, as noted in the Expert Trainees table. Benefit lasts for 7 days. So that's how you get the Empower effects I just went over. Maybe I should have covered that before, but it is what it is. But yeah, no, like I said, probably wouldn't take Battle Expert. Skills Expert's there if you want. Tools Expert there if you want. Unarmed Combat Expert could potentially be pretty solid if you're like a monk or something dealing a lot of unarmed strikes. From my reading says it deals an extra d4 bludgeoning damage. Then adding a d4 to all of your monk attacks for the next 7 days. Hey, that's just free damage. You're already making a shit ton of them. It'll stack up. And then Weapon Expert is good for anybody that doesn't get the mastery properties. But moving on to the Trophy Room, as another level 9 Bastion facility, which is a prerequisite of none. Space of roomy, hirelings of 1. Order is research, and a Trophy Room is, what you would think it is, like a lot of taxidermy, a lot of mementos such as weapons from old battles, trinkets plucked from dungeons and ruins, trophies passed down from ancestors, blah blah blah, whatever you want to flavor it as. Research options are lore and trinket trophy. Lore is you can have them research stuff like some of the other ones. It can be any legend, any kind of creature or famous object. The topic need not be directly related with items on display in the room, such as trophies that provide clues to research a wide variety of other subjects. The work takes 7 days, and the hiring obtains up to 3 accurate pieces of information about the topic that were previously unknown to you. And it shares its knowledge the next time you visit your bastion. And then the research trinket trophy. The commission and research facilities hiring to search for a trinket that might be of use to you. The work takes 7 days. When the research concludes, roll any die. If the number rolled is odd, the hireling finds nothing useful. If the roll is numbered is even, the hireling finds a magic item. Roll an implements common table on chapter 7 to realize what it is. Let's see what there is here. They're all common magic items, so the usefulness may not be there. I mean, we got potions healing, stuff like that. Feel free to pause and take a gander if you want to look for yourself. But back to bastions and stuff. Trophy room I took as well on my Sunday game character because a proper museum didn't get added until the Eberron book, which we'll see it later. I was using the trophy room as kind of like a museum, but now they actually added a museum, so I'll probably take the museum too the next time I can. Next is the war room, which is a level 17 bastion facility. Prerequisite is a fighting style feature or unarmed or defense feature. Space is vast. Hirelings is 2+, see below. Order is to recruit. A war room is where you plan military actions in conclusion with an inner circle of loyal lieutenants. Each one has a battle-hardened warrior veteran whose alignment matches yours. You start with 2 lieutenants but can add more as described below. If your bastion lacks facilities to house your lieutenants, they secure accommodations in the inn or settlement closest to your bastion. Lieutenants are hirelings but not bastion defenders. However, if your bastion is attacked, each lieutenant housed in your bastion reduces Each lieutenant housed in your bastion reduces by 1 the number of dice you roll, depending on how many bastion defenders are lost in the attack. The room contains war memorabilia plus a large table surrounded by enough chairs for you and your lieutenants. The recruit options are lieutenant and soldiers. Lieutenant is you gain 1 new lieutenant. You can have up to 10 lieutenants at any time. Assign names and personalities as you see fit. Recruits are soldiers. You commission 1 or more of your lieutenants to assemble a small army. Each lieutenant can master 100 guards. See the monster manual. In 7 days to fight for your cause. Reduce that number to 20 if you want them to be mounted on riding horses. It costs you 1 gold per day to feed each guard and each horse in your army. Where the army goes, it must be led by you or at least one of your lieutenants, or else it disbands immediately. The army also disbands if it goes 1 day without being fed. Otherwise, the army remains until it's destroyed or you command it to disband. You can't use this recruit feature again until your current army disbands or is destroyed. So, yeah, you can just, if you've got the gold, you can have an entire army when you get to level 7, which is interesting. I'm not sure why you will need why you would want an entire army, but you could have an entire army. It's pretty cool, don't get me wrong. Not sure, but if you really want to assault some evil BBG's keep or something, being able to muster an army near the end of the entire campaign, it seems pretty entertaining. But yeah, it is cool. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It is cool. I just don't exactly know how much useful an entire army is going to be. But it is neat. Guards are, what are you? They're challenge rating. It doesn't tell me. but their stat, from what I see from their stats, they're not too strong. And then you can have some of them mounted. Yeah, this is a heavy flavor option here, but it is neat. Do not get me wrong. It is pretty fucking cool. It is pretty solid. Pretty freaking awesome, you might say. But the last Bastion thing we have here in the Dungeon Master's Guide anyway is the Workshop, which is a level 5 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is none. Space is roomy. Hirelings is 3. Order is to craft. The Workshop is a creative space where useful items can be crafted. The Artisan's tools. The Workshop can be equipped with 6 different kinds of Artisan's tools chosen from the following list. When you issue the craft order to the facility, take the following options: adventuring gear or magic item implement when you reach level 9. Can make any kind of adventuring gear you like. Craft item implements. Let's take a gander at common or uncommon magic items. Potion of healing, and then uncommon is, Cloak of Elvenkind, Cloak of Protection. Solid stuff you can find here. Enspelled weapon. Nature's Mantle. It's quite a big list. Quite a big list. Ring of Jumping. Ring of Swimming. Yeah, it's solid. Solid stuff here. Solid things. Then we also have the Source of Inspiration. After spending an entire short rest in your workshop, you gain Heroic Inspiration. You can't use this benefit again until you finish a long rest. And you can enlarge the facility with another 2,000 gold, and it gains 2 additional hirelings and 3 additional artisan's tools. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11. You get 6, and then you get another 3 more, so you can nearly have all tools available in your workshop. But yeah, that is all the bastions in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Don't worry, we still got more to go over. Should I do that before or after Bastion events? Later, after I sort out all of the other Bastions stuff. So I'll figure out how to edit this properly. But we're gonna move on to all the faction Bastions, Bastion things from the Faerun here, the Forgotten Realms Heroes of Faerun book. Each of these factions gained their own Bastion events. There's not too many, and a lot of them vary from unique to kind of copies of other Bastions. But for the Cult of the Dragon here, we have the special facility, which is the Cult of the Dragon Archive. A prerequisite, of course, is the membership in Cult of the Dragon. Space is roomy, hirelings is 1, order is research. You also, it pretty much, I think, is records on specific topics, including dragons and lore, blah blah blah. I'm pretty sure it's reference books. Your Cult of Dragon Arcanes contains a collection of draconic lore. You have advantage on all intelligence, nature, or religion texts made in your Bastion. We take the study option to recall lore about dragons, Tiamat, or the Cult of the Dragon. Then naturally you can spend more gold. So the Cult of the Dragon Archive is basically the same as the archive, along with having just some of the sickest fucking lore book art here. It's pretty cool. Except that it also has a specific a additional reference book specifically for dragon stuff. So we won't spend too long on it. This art is pretty fucking cool. This really expands what you can see an archive could be. But we'll move on to the Emerald Enclave, whose special facility is the Emerald Enclave Grove, which is a level 9 Bastion facility. Membership of the Emerald Enclave. Space is vast. Hirelings is 2. Order is recruit. Veteran agents of the Emerald Enclave create safe havens with trees, grass, and flowing water, where magical creatures that embody the true power of nature live in peace and safety. The Emerald Enclave Grove can house up to 1 huge creature or 2 large creatures. 1 huge creature or 2 large creatures, or 4 small or medium creatures of 8 tiny creatures that can occupy the same space as 1 large creature. Recruit is creature of nature. When you issue the recruit order to this facility, you can invite a creature from the Emerald Enclave Grove creatures on your Emerald Enclave Grove. Roll any die. If the number rolled is odd, then the creature doesn't accept your invitation. You gain no benefit from having issued the order. If the number rolled is even, then a creature accepts your invitation and moves into your Emerald Enclave Grove after 7 days. Your hirelings care for the creature and perform upkeep on the facility. Creatures in your Emerald Enclave Grove count as Bastion Defenders, and you lose any from your Bastion Defenders roster. You can choose not to count one of these creatures as Bastion Defenders, in which case it's kind of like it's the Enclave Grove is very like the Menagerie, except it's got a lot of other things here, potentially up to a fucking unicorn in your Bastion. And that's it's good stuff. That's interesting stuff. You could have a centaur rolling around, and like this is your special little grove that is nice and stuff for people. It's interesting. It's basically the Menagerie except with a different list. But it is cool, and naturally, even though these are kind of setting specific and faction specific, you can flavor them. If your DM allows to, you can just kind of use these, but you always ask your DM. The Harpers, which is important to me actually, because my character on Monday that I'll actually be playing a little later is a Harper. They are a Harper because our campaign takes place out in the Moonshae Isles in Faerun. So I might end up be taking the Harper hideout, but the Harper Hideout is a level 5 Bastion facility. Membership in the Harper is space roomy. Hirelings 1. Order is to empower. You have a safe house hidden near your Bastion and are connected to it by a tunnel no more than a quarter mile in length. Your hireling maintains the hideout using a cover identity that doesn't link them to your Bastion. You can change the location of your Harper Hideout each time you gain a level. Your hideout defenses. Your Harper Hideout is constantly protected by the alarm spell. At level 9, your Harper Hideout can be connected to your Bastion by magical doorway instead of a tunnel. Anyone passing through the door from the Harper Hideout emerges from a specific door in your Bastion or vice versa. And if your Harper Hideout can be located anywhere within 100 miles of your Bastion, it can be located anywhere within 100 miles of your Bastion. At level 13, the facility can be located anywhere in Faerun. At level 17, the magic doorway works across planes, and the facility can be anywhere in the multiverse. That's fun. That's definitely interesting. Empower is Harper training. You issue the order to this facility. The facility's hireling extends an invitation to another Harper agent nearby. Roll any die. If the number is odd, no Harper needs your facility and you gain no benefit from having issued the order. If the number rolled is even, then a friendly Harper takes up temporary residence in your hideout. The Harper stays for 7 days. While at your Bastion, the Harper can share their knowledge. Any character who trains with the Harper here for at least 8 hours on each of those days gains proficiency in one of the following skills: deception, investigation, or performance. Benefit lasts for 7 days. The Harper won't defend your Bastion and departs immediately if the Bastion is attacked. So I do love this art. I'm probably gonna be. I'm probably, if we do get Bastions here soon in the campaign on Monday, I'm probably gonna take a Harper hideout if my DM allows me, because I think it's fun, and very thematic. But moving on to the Lord's Alliance special facility is the Lord's Alliance Noble Residence. And prerequisite is membership of the Lord's Alliance. Space is vast. Hirelings is 1. Order is to recruit. You maintain a luxurious apartment fit for the ruler in a city such as Neverwinter, Waterdeep, or Baldur's Gate. Your hireling is a butler who attends to the residents' needs. After spending a long rest in your noble residence, you gain a heroic inspiration. And then the recruit is a visiting noble. Whenever you issue the recruit order to your Lord's Alliance Noble residence, you forgo sleeping in it for 14 days and instead make it available to a noble from a settlement that is a member of the Lord's Alliance. Roll any die. If the number rolled is odd, no one accepts your invitation and you gain no benefit from having issued the order. If the number rolled is even, a noble from the settlement of your choice accepts your invitation, arriving within 7 days and staying for another 7 days. The visiting noble gossips about events and inhabitants in their home settlement, revealing to you the location of any creature familiar to you if that creature is within 50 miles of the settlement from which the noble has come. If the creature isn't hidden by magic, or if the creature isn't confined to a location confined to a location that the DM deems beyond the noble's ability to know. If the noble knows the location of the individual, they also tell you where that creature was for the 7 days prior to the noble's departure from your bastion. The visiting noble won't defend your bastion and departs immediately if the bastion is attacked. And here we can see some fine living for the noble that you could potentially have. This is pretty similar to the... What was it? Was it the guild hall? Or the pub? I think has something similar to this. So, the next bastion facility is the Order of the Gauntlet. From the Order of the Gauntlet is the Order of the Gauntlet Tournament Field. Oh boy. I should preface, I actually haven't looked, I looked over the Harper one, but I did not look over the rest of these, so some of them are a surprise to me that I'm going over for the first time. So the Order of the Gauntlet Tournament Field is a level 9 bastion facility. Membership in the Order of the Gauntlet, space is vast, hireling is 1, order is in power. The Order of the Gauntlet Tournament Field is a marked off area of combat between two armed individuals, includes room for spectators. If your hireling is a knight whose alignment matches your own, if your bastion lacks facilities to house the knight secures accommodations in an inn or settlement closest to the bastion. This knight isn't a bastion defender, but if your bastion is attacked, the knight reduces by 1 the number of dice you roll to determine how many defenders are lost in the attack. The Empower is hold tournament. Well, you can issue an order to when you issue the Empower order to this facility, you can host a tournament of your bastion. It takes 7 days for word of the tournament to spread to the nearby settlements, and another 7 days for contestants to travel to your bastion to participate in the tournament. You must spend 2,000 gold for prizes. At the conclusion of your tournament, your renown score with the Order of the Gauntlet increases by 1. That's definitely probably pretty setting specific to Order of the Gauntlet, because renown score is whatever. But I'm sure if you wanted to just have a tournament field as part of your bastion somewhere, then you can work at like anything. You can work with your DM to figure that out and what benefit that must be for you. Maybe it in general increases your renown. People start knowing of you, but who knows? The next one is the Purple Dragon Knights. What do you guys get for the Amethyst Dragon Den? Huh? Prerequisite is membership in the Purple Dragon Knights. Space is vast, hirelings is 1, order is to empower. This den is for an amethyst dragon enclosed in an enclosed chamber with a pool of one of its entrances, and one of its entrances is underwater. This facility's hireling maintains the den and helps any visiting amethyst dragons feel comfortable. Empower psionic defenses. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, latent draconic power fills the facility, allowing you to train in psionic combat. The training takes 8 hours per day for 7 days, after which you gain resistance to psychic damage, and this benefit lasts for 7 days. And then you get amethyst. Interesting. You just sometimes have an amethyst dragon around. That's probably pretty setting specific to and stuff to flavor it, but I don't know. Maybe you can work with your DM to have like just a dragon den in your bastion, so any traveling dragons, I guess, can stop by and give you. And whichever dragon is stopped around can just give you like a damage resistance if you let the energy like radiate, I guess. Ooh, that could be interesting. I do. The art is great, honestly, fantastic. Yeah. Next is Red Wizards. Their special facility is the Red Wizard Necropolis. Membership in Red Wizards and the ability to use a spellcasting focus, and has also a level 5 Bastion facility. Space is roomy. Hirelings is 1. Order is to recruit. Red Wizards defend their strongholds with undead minions. A Red Wizard Necropolis can accommodate up to 8 Bastion defenders. And the order is to recruit undead defenders. Each time you issue the recruit option to this facility, up to 4 undead Bastion defenders are created and take shelter within the crypts and burial chambers of your Red Wizard Necropolis. You can't issue the recruit order to this facility if it's fully occupied. Keep track of the undead Bastion defenders. If you lose or deduct them from your Bastion defenders roster, an undead Bastion defender returns to your Red Wizard Necropolis 14 days after being destroyed. The undead Bastion defenders can't be returned from being killed if this facility is shut down or fully occupied. Interesting. I guess does it tell us which ones are which undead? I guess they're just zombies and skeletons and stuff. Maybe whites. I guess it's up to your DM and you to decide what undead stat block we're using for them, if that is necessary. Basically, it's a barracks except for undead, and you can't expand it in any way, at least from the rules here. Interesting, I suppose. Very interesting, and one you could easily reflavor into any campaign, because it's literally just like a necromancer's little crypt area. So if you're like a necromancer of some kind, or for whatever reason want undead things guarding your bastion, even if you're not a necromancer but are kind of a dark vibe, then you could probably use this in any campaign setting that your DM would allow. But of course, give them a talk to first. Moving on to the Zentrum, what do you guys get? You get the Zentrum Travel Station. It is a level 5 Bastion facility. A prerequisite is the members of the Zentrum. Space is vast. Hirelings is 2. Order is research. The Zentrum maintains stations to facilitate safe and swift long-distance travel on journeys. See Chapter 2 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Your travel station includes temporary stabling facilities for up to 4 large creatures. 2 medium creatures can occupy the same space as a large creature there. The facility's hirelings look after these creatures. Long distance travel speed. Finishing a long rest in your bastion better prepares you for travel. Your group's maximum travel pace increases by 1 step, from slow to normal or normal to fast. Research is reconnaissance. When you issue the research order to this facility, you commission the Zentrum Travel Station's hirelings to gather information that facilitates an upcoming journey. This work takes 7 days. For the duration of the journey, you have an advantage on wisdom survival checks to forage or navigate. Fairly simple. Yeah, and that's all the bastions from the Eberron book. So we will move right along to, not the bastions from the Eberron book, that's the bastions from the Faerun book. So we'll move on to the bastions in Khorvaire, which are the new bastion facilities from Eberron, some of which are setting specific, but also, as mentioned earlier, it does allow rules for having a mobile bastion, like say if your bastion is a ship, or if you're in Eberron, one of the sky ships or a train of some kind. As we can see, that this is a perfect example for a bastion, a mobile bastion. To have a mobile bastion, though, you must have either a helm of some kind, and I believe all the helms are level 9 facilities, but we'll see. But you have to have a helm of some kind and general other stuff. You can read this if you'd like to know more about what you would need to have your bastion mobile. But onto the special facilities, we've got some few interesting stuff here. All of them are, of course, alphabetical, so they're not going to be in this order. But first up is the Artificer's Forge, which is a level 13 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is ability to use Artisan's tools as a spellcasting focus, which is pretty much just the Artificer. Space is roomy. Hirelings is 2. Order is to craft. Crafting assistance. If you create a magic item in your bastion using the rules in the Dungeon Master Guide, one or both of these facilities hirelings can assist you, reducing the time required for the crafting. Craft is craft magical item. When you use the craft order in this facility, you commission the facility's hirelings to craft a common or uncommon magic item chosen from you by you from the Dungeon Master's Guide. The facility has a tool required to craft the item, then the hireling's proficiency with the tool, as well as proficiency in the Arcana skill. The two hirelings assist each other, reducing the time required to craft the item. The item allows the user to cast any spells from it. The hirelings have those spells prepared. And you also have charge refreshment. Whenever a magic item in your bastion regains charges, it regains 1 extra unexpended charge. Not bad. Not terrible. It doesn't limit you to any of the implements list or the armaments list. It's just any common or uncommon magic item, which is pretty solid. Which of course you can also, I suppose you could sell as well. The facility is 200. It also doesn't say that you have to pay for it this time, so I guess they doesn't require you to have it to expend the money, which could be interesting. It is level 13, so it's pretty late, but doesn't require you to expend any money. So, and it could be a good way to make some cash by selling magic items. Yeah. On to the Construct Forge, which is a level 17 Bastion facility. Ability to use the Artisan's tools as a spellcasting focus. Space is vast. Hireling is 2. Order is recruit. Then we is a Construct Forge to create constructs. Recruit construct. When you issue the recruit order to this facility, the commission of the facility's hirelings to craft a construct from the Forge construct stable. The construction takes time and costs you an amount listed on the table. Construct made in this facility count as Bastion Defenders. Deduct any you lose from your Bastion Defenders roster. You can choose not to count one or more of these construct creatures as Bastion Defenders, which they can't be called on to defend the Bastion. Instead, they act in accordance to their nature and their stat blocks. So, yeesh. I was looking at the Warforged Titan thing here. That is a big boy right there. That's a shit ton of money too, like nearly a year. But construct time, Bastion Defenders. I guess it also doesn't specify an amount, like a limit to how many defenders you could have. So just with enough time, you can have a bunch of them. Animated armor, animated broom, animated flying sword, animated rug of smothering, a helmed horror scarecrow, shield guardian, and then a Warforged Titan. Again, these are illegal to have, as it says down here, but if you want an entire, basically like an Imperial Knight from 40k to guard your bastion, then feel free. There, yeesh, big guy, very expensive, almost a year to craft. Anyway, moving on to the Dragonmark Outpost. Now this is pretty, renowned with the Dragonmark House, pretty setting specific, but it is a level 5 facility, renowned 10 with any Dragonmark House. Space is roomy, hirelings is 1, order is to empower. A Dragonmark Outpost is an area set aside for use of your Dragonmarked house. The hireling is a house agent and serves as a liaison between you and your superiors in the house. When you add this facility to your bastion, your renown score with your house increases by 1. You have the Dragonmark Empowerment, requires any Dragonmark feat. When you finish a long rest, your bastion you gain 1 extra spell slot of level 2. You can use the spell to cast a spell prepared because of Dragonmark feat. That makes sense. Another free cast of potentially one of the spells on your spell list for the Dragonmarks. So how useful that is depends on which Dragonmark you have, I suppose. Then you have Empower House Favor. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, you construct your hireling to call a favor from your Dragonmark house. You can use the benefit of your house that you can use any benefit of your house that your renown score affords you, as described in Chapter 5. This favor doesn't count against the total number of favors available to you. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until your renown score. You can't use it again until your renown score with your house increases. Makes sense. I haven't looked at the renown score stuff before, but yeah. Moving on to the Inquisitive Agency, which is a level 13 Bastion facility. Prerequisite is none. Space is roomy. Hirelings of 1. Order is research. This facility is an office for an inquisitive agency, either the headquarters of an agency you control or a branch office of a larger facility, such as information acquisition or cachetage, whatever, both of which are discussed in Chapter 4. Its one hireling is a secretary who maintains an extensive directory of useful contacts and helpful agents. Its research is information gathering. When you issue the research order to this facility, you commission the agency's secretary to gather information from contacts and agents regarding a specific individual you designate, assembling a comprehensive picture of that person's activities during the previous 7 days and over the course of the next 7 days, within 10 miles of your bastion. Unless the DM determines that certain information is beyond these agents' ability to uncover, you learn the following information: where the person is and where it is and has been staying, what they've spent money on, whom with they've met, where they've shown identification papers to the authorities. If your bastion is mobile, it takes time to establish this network of agents in a new place. When your bastion is traveling, you can't issue the research order to this facility. After it arrives at a destination, the first time you issue the research order to this facility, hireling spends 7 days establishing a new network, after which you can use the research order normally. Makes sense. Makes sense. I certainly, like, I on another one of my videos, I was talking about talking to other people. I've always had this idea of like a wizard that was a private investigator, a PI. So I definitely maybe would take this for the sake of the flavor. Next is the Kundark Vault, renown 15 with the House Kundark. Space is cramped. Hirelings is 1. Order is trade. Kundark Vault occupies space in your bastion like any other special facility, but is in an extra-dimensional space that can be accessed from other places, such as a Kundark facility. It applies an especially secure storage for your trade goods and other treasures. Only you and your bastion's hirelings can open the vault door. Kundark access. Because the vault is an extra-dimensional space, you and only you can have access to contact from any Kundark bank facility in the world. These banks are found in cities across Corvair, also in Stormreach and Zendrick. Trade is goods. When you issue the trade order for this facility, a hireling spends 7 days procuring non-magical items that have a total value of 2,000 GP or less and stores them in the vault. The hireling uses these 7 days to sell the goods in the vault, and you bear the total cost of any purchases. And the maximum value of the items purchased increased to 500 when you reach level 13. So this is basically kind of like a sort of better storehouse, because you also get the buyer pays 20% more and level 50% more. Level 13, 100% more at level 7. So it's kind of like a storehouse, except, you know, tied to Eberron specifically. You probably couldn't use this in a non-Eberron campaign. This seems pretty specific to Eberron, but you know, I provide you the challenge to be able to flavor it if you and your DM want to set up banks across the world to access your extra dimensional vault. But moving on to the Lathander Helm, which is a level 13 Bastion facility, level renown 25 plus with House Landar. Space is cramped. Hirelings is 1. Order is in power. Lathander Helm allows a mobile bastion to build within an elemental airship or an elemental galleon to travel. The facility's hireling is a Dragonmark house as Lathander on an elemental airship. The airship's helm crew station is part of this facility. See Chapter 7. And power is travel, and then, you know, you basically get to tell your entire bastion to go wherever the fuck it wants. But it is pretty cool. But moving on to the Manifest Zone, which is a level 13 Bastion facility. Ability uses spellcasting focus. Space is vast. Hirelings is 1. Order is in power. A Bastion with a manifest zone is infused with the planar energy of one of Eberron's planes of existence. Choose which plane when you build this facility. Empower, manifest charm. Your hireling connects a magical rite for the next 7 days. In the end of the period, you get a special charm called a manifest charm, which allows you to tell you use it. You don't need to be in the Bastion while the rites are performed to gain the benefit. The effects of the charm depends on the facility's linked plane. The perfect order. You can expend the charm to end blind, deafen, paralyze, or poison. Okay, not bad. Dorleth, the realm of the dead. You can use the spell slot to cast any spell from the necromancy school. You can expend the charm to treat the spell as it were cast using a spell slot 1 level above the spell slot expended. Alright then. Pretty specific to people casting necromancy spells regularly, but sure. The Sea of Fire. When you use a spell slot that deals fire damage, you can almost the same thing. One level above the spell slot expended. The Eternal Dawn. Spell restores hit points. It's the same. Or radiant damage. Same thing. Lamentia, the Twilight Forest. When you spell slot, the conjure to the spell that conjures or summon beasts, elemental or fey, including all of these. Same thing. Treats it as 1 spell slot more. Summons undead. The animates or summons undead. You can 1 spell. Same thing. Cold damage. Critical hit. Okay, so Severoth, the battleground. When you score a critical hit, you can expend the charm and deal an extra 10 damage of one of the types dealt by the attack. Okay. The Azure Sai, you can get 5 speed equal to your speed for 1 minute. Not bad. Fairy Court. Illusion or the enchantment or you cast a spell from the enchantment or illusion school. You can spend the charm to give one of the targets disadvantage on the saving throw. Okay. Fair enough. That could be interesting. And then the Realm of Delirium. When you cast a spell, you can spend the charm to roll on the Wild Magic search table. Okay. All right then. Okay. These seem pretty Eberron specific as well, though. Being a manifest zone in general, I think you could easily flavor into other settings for other planes of existence if you work with your DM to figure one out. If your Bastion, but there's also this bit here that says if your Bastion is mobile, it's connected to the linked plane of existence, it's suspended while the Bastion moves, and you can't issue the order to empower while it's in transit. If the Bastion reaches the destination, you can establish a new planar connection. Blah blah blah. Same thing as the spy thing from earlier. Next up is the museum, which is a prerequisite of none. Level 13 Bastion facility. Hirelings of 1. Order is to research. A museum contains relics and treasures brought back from the expedition you participated or sponsored, carefully cataloged and displayed. Research is specialized lore. When you use the research order in the facility, you can commission the hireling to study particular treasures in the museum. The work takes 7 days. The hireling gains knowledge regarding some question of our ancient history, as if they had cast the legend lore spell that shares the knowledge with you the next time you speak with them. Then Secrets of the Past. Your museum contains 1 treasure given to you as a magical charm. Blah blah blah. Charm lasts for 7 days. You can get another charm from the facility while you still have one. The effect of the charm depends on the origin treasure of your museum. Choose one of the following options. Your DM might make more options available or limit the existing options based on your past expeditions. This is pretty fucking cool. This is pretty damn awesome art here. Charm of Anison. When you know Draconic, you spend the charm to cast Dragon's Breath. And then this one is Abyssal and Infernal. Cast Ray of Sickness, level 4 version. Target yourself only. I see. When you have the charm, you know the Goblin language. You can expend this spell Staggering Smite. Kyber, you can have Dark Vision up to 120 feet and expend the charm to gain True Sight for 60 feet for 1 minute. Not bad. You can have this charm. You can know the Giant language, and you can, as a bonus, you can expend charm to increase your strength score to 25 for an hour. That's pretty cool. And then a enlarging facility, you can spend 2,000 gold. If you do so, you can have 2 treasures with different origins. A vast museum gains 2 additional hirings for a total of 3. Fair enough. Then on to the next one is the Navigator's Helm, which Navigator's Helm allows a mobile bastion built within the mundane waterborne vehicle to travel. And then in power travel, you can get to tell your bastion to go wherever the fuck. You can go on to the Orin Helm, which is Orim, within a lightning rail cart to travel. Lightning rail, yep. This allows you to have your bastion within one of the train cars in Eberron, which is pretty setting specific. So, that is all of the current bastion facilities in the game. Right now, as of right now, unless I'm missing some, I don't think I am. There are also bastion events and rules about the fall of the bastion. So, there aren't too many bastion events, so I'm just gonna kind of group them together and go over them fairly quickly. The all as well is basically nothing happens if your bastion. There's also attacked. If your bastion is attacked, you can see this stuff here. You roll a bunch of d6, and at least if for each side that rolls a 1, one bastion defender dies, and the special facility shuts down. You can't be used again. If a bastion has 0 bastion defenders, one of your bastion special facilities, determined randomly, is damaged and forced to shut down. You gotta make repairs. There's also criminal hireling. One of your bastion's hirelings has a criminal past, which come to light, offers officials or bounty hunters visit your bastion with a warrant for the hireling's arrest. You can retain the hireling by paying a bribe, otherwise the hireling is arrested and taken away. This loss leaves one of your facilities without any hirelings. That facility can't be used until your next bastion term. The hireling is then replaced at no cost to you. There's also extraordinary opportunity, as given the opportunity to host an important festival or celebration. If you seize the opportunity, best pay 500 gold. Again, son of explanation, recognition, or attention prompted the DM to roll again on the bastion events table, which is pretty interesting stuff. You can have friendly visitors. They offer some gold for the brief visit. A visit of a use of a facility, like if the knight wants to use your smithy, which is nice. You can have guests, and guests can give you stuff. You can pause to read this stuff. There's lost hirelings, which is one of your loses its hireling because of their departures up to you. Facility can't be used until the next bastion turn. Then there's magical discovery. Your hirelings discover or accidentally create an uncommon magic item of your choice, no cost to you. Item must be a potion or a scroll. There's also refugees, fleeing from a monster attack or some other calamity, and they can seek refuge. The refugees offer you 1d6 times 100 gold as payment for your hospitality. Instead, until you find them a new home or a hostile force attacks your bastion. Request for aid is you can help a local leader. This is a search for a missing person or brigands are plaguing the area. If you help, you must dispatch one or more bastion defenders, and they get you some gold. Anytime you can pause any of these to just kind of read them. Treasure is you roll on a bunch of these, get some potential stuff, and then that's all of the bastion events, but I'm sure your DM could come up with some more. This leads to the fall of the bastion. A player character can lose their bastion in the following ways. A divestiture, they can give up their bastion anytime, releasing the bastion's hirelings and abandoning its location. There's also neglect. If the character issues no orders to their bastion for another or consecutive bastion turns equal to the character's level, typically because the character is dead or otherwise out of commission, the hirelings abandon the bastion and site is eventually looted. The Ruination. Drawing the Ruination card from deck of many things instantly deprives the character of their bastion. That's fucking funny. And then I'm sure your bastion, if your DM was pretty mean, could also be destroyed. So, be careful. In any case, that's pretty much everything. That's a long video. I've been talking for a good bit. I'm gonna have to edit this down. But I appreciate anybody who is here to listen to me ramble about bastions, though I think I was pretty considerably less rambly. As I mentioned multiple times, I get real rambly when it comes to character options, because then sometimes character ideas just come to me. But in terms of stuff like bastion and whatnot, There's not a whole lot to say about a lot of them. They are cool. There's a lot of flavor that can be had. The ability to design your own home base is fun and interesting. But at the end of the day, so many Bastion facilities can be used by different characters. What they look like and the Bastion is just determined by the person. So that's pretty much all I've got to say on it. If you'd like to see any other videos on any other topics, I am planning on making a video for every class at some point, though I'm going to do that at my leisure. But feel free to suggest any other videos you'd want to see, and I'll definitely take them into consideration. I'm down to go over some character builds as well sometimes for characters that I think of, but there's there's other D&D YouTubers that do that kind of thing too. But yeah, if you'd like to be a part of a community, I'm going to have my Discord linked in below. It's small but growing. I'm there pretty consistently. I always have my phone on me to do Discord stuff. If you want to support me in any way, I've got my Ko-Fi. You can send me a tip. You can sign up for my little monthly thing if you'd like. I'm only just going to leave it as $1 for now, because I think $1 a month is all the entertainment I can give you, at least for right now. Maybe one day I'll have other tiers when I can think of other things to give people. And if you'd like to support me in any other ways, I'm not of time of recording. I am not too far away from Twitch affiliate, so I'd appreciate if you'd help give me a follow over there as well, because it can help me start making a little bit. Not much. Twitch doesn't pay a whole lot if you're just starting out without too much viewership, but at least getting me to be eligible is very helpful. But anyway, until the next time you see me playing a game or talking about another D&D stuff, I hope you have a good day, good night, a good time zone, whatever the hell it is, and bye-bye. I'll see you next time.